Hey guys, and welcome to this update video of Create Pipes in Physics 2.1.0. Today I wanted you to show the new features added to the mod, and yeah, let's get started. So the first thing new is you can now adjust the angle valves sit at, so they are not binary anymore with saying either on or off, but kind of analog as you can adjust the values inside of here from the different degrees. So if we set it to 45 degrees, it will let through 50% of the flow, and it will scale linear to whatever the flow inside of here is. It also works with the valve handle, so you can place one on here. By default, it rotates 45 degrees from create, and you can also, okay, it should go, let's say, I don't know, 20 degrees back, and then it will go 20 degrees back. Yes, so this is feature number one. Feature number two has actually been in the mod for quite some time, but I think none of you have seen it. So when you shift and right click a pipe with a pump, it will actually replace it. This is mainly because there's often like when there's already fluid in here and then I want to place like a pump, it can get quite annoying to then have it be correctly in the system and then like the fluid drops out, etc. So this is the main reason. You can also toggle this on and off in the config if you want to. And yes, in survival mode, it will then of course give you the pipe or if it's encased, the encased piping materials back. Yeah, so the next feature is pretty neat because there's now a new renderer for the fluids inside of pipes. So when they're standing still, you can see now they render correctly. And if we move it a bit of water away from this tank, so they equalize again, then you can see they're also moving with a pretty slow flow rate in here. And what is then also new is if we remove even more water, you can then see that the fluid then adapts to the height level of these two tanks and sits kind of in between of them until they equalize. And when they equalize, they're like all on the same level visually, which is quite nice. Also, regarding the renderer, the speed of the fluid scales with how fast it flows. So you can see it here, the faster it flows, like the more flow there is, the faster it flows also visually. So if you like crank this up to the max, you can see it flows quite fast in here. And if we now like throttle it down, okay, I need to throttle it down even further. Let me just, I don't know, put in like, I don't know, 5. Yeah, you can see it then gets like slower, which is quite cool. So it can give you like kind of a visual view of what it's actually doing. And this kind of goes hand in hand into the next feature, which is if the fluid cannot reach the pipe, it will not flow. So if I add in a bit more fluid into here, then the pipe will start flowing. And when the fluid cannot hit it anymore, it will then stop. This is like not one-to-one like visually in here right now as my head calculations, like how high the fluid sits inside of a certain part of the network is off from the visual lines in here because create like pushes up the fluid inside of the tank by like these 4 pixels and like scales it down technically. You can all visualize this with /pipe graph. You need to look at the network. And then you can see like where the system thinks the head is. Now you can see it sits a little bit above here. And there's a few the different kind of views inside of here. So you can see he sits actually below and stuff like that. But you can kind of get a feeling for like what it looks like in the system. Also, one new feature there is when a flow is now blocked, for example, this is now blocked because this tank here is full. The network actually stores the information that the fluid has already flown to this point here. So when you then add in new space for the fluid flow, it will instantly start flowing. because before that it then had to recrawl through the whole network and then goes into here. The last new feature added to this version is cross piping from Sable sublevels and real world. And this works in both directions. I showed you in the last video how it can pump into the real world, but it can now also suck from the real world. So if we remove some water from here, you can see it is actually piping from this lake here. Yes, so these are all the changes for Create Pipes in Physics 2.1.0. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. And if you have suggestions, feel free to join the Discord, linked in the description, or write something on my GitHub page. Yes, as always, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.